Hi there, I'm Anne from Fight Like a Girl. And if you're here watching this, it's very likely your child has just taken part in one of our Become Bully Proof workshops, or maybe you're a parent looking for solid, real world guidance on how to handle bullying. Either way, this video is for you. I'm here to help you understand what bullying actually is, how to spot the signs, and how to support your child if they're being bullied, and how to step in calmly and effectively to get the matter resolved. Whether your child is dealing with something right now or you just want to be prepared, this conversation will give you the clarity and the tools to do both. So let's start with something important. Teasing and bullying are not the same thing. Teasing happens between kids who are equals. They're the same age, the same social dynamic, and it's usually playful. There is still respect there. Both kids are in on the joke. It's generally positive and it can build even stronger relationships. Bullying is very different. It's designed to humiliate, isolate, or hurt. It happens when one child is using power over another, and it keeps going even when it's clear that the other person is uncomfortable. Bullying is when someone chooses to go out of their way to hurt, humiliate, or isolate someone over and over and over again. So kids need to know this difference too. Sometimes they stay silent thinking maybe I'm just being too sensitive. So helping them draw that line gives them clarity and it gives them permission to speak up if they are being bullied. Bullying can take many forms. It might be physical, hitting, pushing, tripping. It can be verbal with insults, name calling, threats. Emotional bullying often looks like exclusion, humiliation, or manipulation. And then there's psychological bullying. It's the constant pressure that chips away at someone's self-worth. And of course, let's not forget cyberbullying. It can include messages, group chats, or online shaming. Kids can also be bullied based on their race, their religion, their gender, their sexuality, disability, or anything that makes them somewhat different. Now, sometimes bullying is loud and obvious, sometimes it's subtle, but it is always deliberate and it always causes harm. It very rarely happens in front of adults. Bullying lives in those in-between moments when no one is watching and when the other child is alone. Bullies choose kids who they see as vulnerable, whether that's physically, emotionally, or socially. And once they've picked a target, it's not a once-off incident. They create a pattern of aggression because they get away with it. Sometimes it starts with something small, a shove, a joke, a comment. If no one does anything about it, they go further. Often, there'll be a group dynamic involved. The bully will lead while the others stay quiet or they laugh along. They might threaten the child not to tell anyone. And when kids stay silent, that's when the cycle continues. So why do kids bully? There is always a root cause to bullying. It might be something that they've seen at home, in a game, online, from other kids. It might come from emotional struggles, frustration, insecurity, needing to control. Sometimes it's about trying to fit in with a group. Sometimes there are deeper issues like mental health challenges or personality traits that make impulse control or empathy difficult. At the core, bullies are trying to feel powerful by putting somebody else down. And who do they target? Unfortunately, it can be anyone, but there are some common patterns. They go for children who are shy, quiet, or socially awkward, kids who are small, overweight, underweight, or who look physically different in any way, children with glasses, braces, skin conditions, or disabilities, kids from different racial, religious, or cultural backgrounds, a child who's new to the school, or one who's emotional or cries easily, kids who are academically gifted or seen as teachers' pet, children who are too pretty or not pretty enough, loud kids, energetic kids, kids who don't follow the crowd, LGBTQ plus kids, or those who are perceived to be, children with low confidence or low self-esteem. Anyone can be targeted. Bullies aren't always looking for someone who's weak. They're looking for someone who stands out and who seems easier to target. So how do you know if your child's being bullied? Most kids won't walk in the door and say, "Hey, mom, hey, dad, I'm being bullied." But there will be signs. Sudden changes in mood, not wanting to go to school, trouble sleeping, headaches or stomach aches with no clear cause, avoiding certain people or places. Perhaps they suddenly have damaged or missing belongings. Maybe they become more withdrawn or unusually reactive to small things. But as a parent, if something feels off, pay attention to it. Your instincts here really matter. And if your child does open up, your first job is to stay grounded. It is totally normal to feel angry, upset, or even guilty. And you might want to march into school and demand answers. But what your child needs in that very moment is your calm. They're likely already carrying shame, fear, and confusion. They need to know that they can trust you with this. Let them talk. Let them take their time. Don't interrupt. Don't jump to conclusions and avoid trying to fix the situation in the first 2 minutes. Also, don't say things like, "Ah, just ignore it," or "don't be so sensitive," or something like they probably didn't mean it. What you want to say instead is, "Thank you for telling me. That sounds really tough. I'm here for you. You are not alone. We're going to work through this together." If you suspect something and they haven't told you yet, you can start with something really low pressure. As an example, you can say, "I read an article today about bullying at school. It made me think about how hard that might be for a kid to deal with. And I really hope that if anything like that ever happened to you, you'd feel like you could talk to me because I've always got your back." And then step away. Let them process what you've said. And that curiosity might make them come back to the conversation with you later. When they do talk, help them unpack what's really happening. You want to ask open, non-leading questions. For example, what happened? How did you feel when that happened? Has this happened before? Is it one person or are there more involved? Do you feel safe going to school? Look for patterns. Is there something that's been repeated? Is there a clear imbalance of power? And has the situation begun to escalate? Help your child name it. So as they're talking, say to them, "That sounds like more than teasing. That sounds like it's bullying." The more clearly they can identify what's happening, the more clearly you can respond. If it continues, here's what you want to do. Start documenting everything: dates, times, what happened, where, who is involved. If it's happening online, take screenshots. You also want to ask your child what they've done to try and stop it so far, if anything. Then make an appointment with the teacher or the principal. Familiarize yourself with the school's anti-bullying policy and gather as much of that accurate information as you can from your child. Remain calm and collected when you get to the meeting. Losing your temper is not going to help. You want to be factual, but you also want to be firm. Then you want to make sure that there are clear action steps agreed upon. Next, set a follow-up date so you can check whether things are improving and hold the school accountable if they are not. If this meeting doesn't lead to change, then escalate things by going to the school governing body or to the district. And if that still doesn't help, you may need to seek legal advice. In the meantime, your child's still got to go to school. So help them build a plan. They should stick with friends as much as possible, avoid being alone, and avoid isolated areas where they can get cornered. They should identify a safe adult at school that they can talk to. They should change their routine if needed and know where the safest spaces are on the school grounds. They should try not to give the bully an opportunity to act, which might mean taking a different route, walking with a group, or adjusting those routines. They should practice situational awareness. Encourage your child to stay alert and notice what is going on around them at all times. Help them build a sense of internal strength through assertiveness drills and role play. Help them to move with confidence and ignore the bully if it's verbal and not rise up to the taunts. If they have to respond in some way, they should speak with authority and hold their ground if necessary. Help them practice walking with confidence. They should have their head up, their shoulders back. Even if they're scared, just looking confident can help make them a harder target. Bullies, like any predators out there, are looking for easy targets. So you want to help your child make it more difficult for them. Always encourage them to keep a private record of what's happening and remind them that bullies hate being reported. You can also practice some responses with them. Do some role play where you say to them something like, "You're so weird." And then they must respond with, "Not interested." You say to them, "Hey, give me your lunch." And get them to say, "Back off. Not giving you my lunch." Play with things like that. Help them to use a steady voice and to keep eye contact. They must stand tall, not look away, not look down. It might feel really awkward for them at first, but with some repetition, it's going to help build confidence. And confidence changes how a child carries themselves. Confidence changes how everyone carries themselves. If they feel unsafe, they should go to an adult. If they can walk away, they should just walk away and avoid escalating the situation further. If it's online, they must not respond in any way. They must screenshot and report. If there are threats of violence, emotional trauma, or serious harm, you need to step in immediately and contact the school, contact the police if necessary, but you do whatever it takes to protect your child. And I want you to know that legally, you're supported. Here in South Africa, we have the Schools Act, the Children's Act, and the Child Justice Act. They all protect children from harm, and they outline the responsibilities of schools. Martial arts or self-defense classes can also be used to help build confidence and body awareness, not to fight, okay, but to move through the world with strength and courage. Now, what if your child is the one that's doing the bullying? It's not easy to hear, but it happens. And it does not mean that you have failed as a parent. You want to ask your child open-ended questions such as, "What's going on for you lately? Why do you think you said that?" Let them know that this does not define them, but it has to come to a stop. Help them to understand empathy. Ask them, how do you think the other person felt when you did that, when you behaved that way? You want to set boundaries and put consequences for their actions in place. Involve the school, bring in a counselor or a therapist if necessary. And if your child happens to see someone else being bullied, that matters too. They might think it's not their business, but their silence allows the bullying to continue. So you want to teach them to speak up if it feels safe and to say, "Hey, that's not okay. Don't do that." Or they can check in with the person afterwards. "Hey, are you all right?" They can report it to a teacher or a staff member. Being a bystander is powerful. Kids need to know that they have options, and they need to know that they have a responsibility to act whenever they can. Now, even after bullying ends, the impact of the bullying can linger for a long time afterwards. So your child might need time to rebuild their confidence. They might need some space to talk through what has happened or support from a therapist or a mentor. Keep checking in with them. Let them know that they were not weak. They were not wrong. They were targeted, and this is something that they got through. Whether your child just attended one of our Become Bully Proof workshops or you're here because you're worried about bullying, thank you for showing up. Keep the door open with your kids. Keep checking in. Let them know that they can talk to you about absolutely anything. And if your school has not yet run a Become Bully Proof workshop, we're working with schools across KZN right now. So ask your school to contact us to book one. It really is one of the best steps that they can take to create a safer, stronger environment for every child. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being the kind of parent who leans in, pays attention, and takes action. You're awesome.